Let's speak now to Andrew Copson, Chief Executive of Humanists UK. Andrew Copson, thank you for making the time to speak to us today. You will have heard Dame Esther there making the case for a change in the law. Can you explain to us why she would say that the law is such a mess as it currently stands?
Well, what we have at the moment is no law that allows assisted dying for terminally ill or incurably suffering people, but we have prosecution guidelines that say that in most cases it won't be in the public interest to prosecute people who assist people to go abroad. And what that really means is that we're exporting the problem to another country and failing to really grasp the nettle in our own country by just leaving the law as it is and hoping the problem will go away. And that's why it's such a mess.
I mean, how do you craft a new law, in your opinion, that would protect the vulnerable? I mean, Dame Esther mentioned some of them there. She didn't think or didn't quite see how it could relate to certain groups, disabled people being against this bill. But how would you make sure that it protected against the vulnerable? I often hear the argument that people may well feel pressured to do this sort of thing, and you have to protect against that, of course.
Yes, I mean, we're lucky, as Dame Esther also said, that there are so many jurisdictions around the world now that have legalised assisted dying, both for the terminally ill and for the incurably suffering, that we've got a lot of examples to learn from. We know what works and we know what doesn't work so well. And we know that what works is having really clear access to safeguards. So, for example, we could make sure that there are two doctors that need to give permission. We can make sure that someone's wish is settled. They can't just decide today. There has to be a settled wish over a period of time. We can put criteria around it, like, for example, that their suffering should be incurable or that their illness should be terminal, they can't recover from it. And all those sorts of definitions and safeguards can, as we know, protect vulnerable people, but importantly give the freedom to those who want assistance to have it. We can see that working all around the world.
Yeah, so following examples from abroad would be the way to potentially do it. Now, you'll know the Campaign Care Not Killing are against this. Dr. Gordon MacDonald saying that we should be fixing palliative care in the system there. Why is that not the way to go about this, so people, as he would see it, can have a dignified death through a better palliative care system?
Everyone deserves a dignified death, and they deserve it according to their own choice. Freedom of choice is an important part of dignity at the end of life, and if people want to go on for as long as possible with all the palliative care that can be given to them, they should have that choice, and that palliative care should be provided. That is in no way inconsistent with saying that those who don't wish to continue in that way should be able to have the choice of assistance in dying. Those two things are not in conflict at all, and as the report from the House of Commons made clear, as Dame Esther said, in countries where assisted dying is made legal, palliative care either continues as it is or improves.
Andrew, you will have heard Dame Esther as well talk about the religious aspect of this and people who are against it, perhaps not saying overtly that they have religious beliefs that say that they can't support it, but that is actually the reason. What's your sense of that as an argument, perhaps putting that out there as being the reason as to why people don't want the change in the law?
Yeah, we know from opinion polls and surveys that most religious people in Britain, of all religions, do support assisted dying. Most religious people do, but there are those who for their religious beliefs don't. Well, what I would say is your religious beliefs are your own. You've got a right to have them. You've got a right to live by those religious beliefs when you make your own choices, but you haven't got a right to have those beliefs imposed on others who have different beliefs and different choices. And if we want to live in a shared and open and tolerant society, everyone has to have the freedom to make their own choices, and that would be my response to them. I wouldn't try to stop them making the choices that they want to in their own personal lives, and I don't think they should stop others.
Now, of course, this vote after the debate in Westminster Hall today is a non-binding vote. The last time it was put to the vote of MPs in 2015 was defeated by 330 to 118. We've heard from Dame Esther and from other of our reporting today that the public mood has changed. I mean, I suppose you would agree with that. And what conversations are being had by groups like yourself with MPs about how the mood has changed?
Well, I think it is really important to recognise this as a long-term campaign. I mean, my organisation, Humanists UK, has been working on this for over 110 years, so that is a long-term campaign by anyone's reckoning. I think more recently what we've seen is the public turning overwhelmingly in favour of assisted dying. You know, most of us now have had to go through the death of a friend or a family member that has not been dignified or not been comfortable, and had to hear them say that they would like to go earlier than they went, and that they would like, more assistance in doing so. And I think that that is making a huge difference to how people consider this issue. Modern medicine now can extend our life for so long, and in most cases that's a good thing, but it can also extend it beyond the point where it has the quality that we want it to have. And that's a new problem. I think MPs are naturally cautious because they receive a lot of high interest lobbying from many people who are against. But I do detect a change in political circles. We've seen the leader of the opposition, Sir Keir Starmer, say that in the event of a Labour government coming in, they would give parliamentary time for a discussion of this. We've seen the Prime Minister say that if the House of Commons and the House of Lords decided they wanted to see this become law, he would accept that. And I think that does herald the beginning of a political change. And they've got a lot of catching up to do with the public in order to meet massive public demand and support for this. But I think that change is beginning.
OK, Andrew Copson, Chief Executive of Humanists UK, thanks for coming on and giving us your perspective.